Hey everybody, welcome back. It's patch 724, and this time I'm going to show you a new build for Tiger Stance Udyr, meant for burst damage and snowballing hard to carry some ranked games in the coming season. I'll first give you a short overview of how to use Dark Harvest, and then we'll talk about the items, and then after that, I have 3 different gameplays to show you. Dark Harvest is one of the most difficult keystones to use effectively, but it also snowballs the hardest of any keystone in the game if you're able to get an early lead. That being said, if you fall behind early, you can't get successful ganks and can't control your own jungle in order to get farm stacks, it's difficult to ever come back from. So you get stacks by picking up the souls of large monsters, large minions, and champions. Large monster souls give 2 stacks each, and this includes each jungle camp, Scuttle, Dragon, Rift Herald, and Baron. Cannon minion souls give 4 stacks each, which is twice as much, and champion souls give 6 stacks each, as much as 3 jungle camps, which means if just 2 champions die near you, that's worth as many stacks as a full jungle clear or 6 camps. And you don't even need to get assists, you just have to be nearby and the souls drop. For example, you gank mid lane, your teammate dies, you take a soul, use it to kill the enemy, that's an entire jungle worth of stacks in 5 seconds. So Dark Harvest buffs your first auto attack against a champion after you pick up a soul. The Dark Harvest damage is adaptive, which means if you build AD items, it will do physical damage, and if you build AP, it will be magic damage. The damage scales with how many stacks you have, most importantly, but it also has some AD and AP scaling. The stacks are the primary source of damage, so even if you want to build semi-tanky with over 4,000 health, you could still burst down squishies in a couple seconds if you have stacks. And for the other runes, Cheap Shot gives us some extra true damage when we use our bear stance, and the cooldown is very short. Even more burst damage to get some kills. Next, Eyeball Collection, not a very important rune, but it's the best out of the 3 choices here. And then Relentless Hunter for the out of combat movement speed to help us run around the map, so after we pick up a stack from the jungle, we can quickly run to a lane and gank. And then secondary, there are a few options. My favorite is Celerity and Water Walking because it gives you the most movement speed and damage. Celerity takes all of our bonus movement speed from our Bear Stance and passive and Trinity Force and Zezerot Portal and converts some of it to AD. Water Walking also gives us a little bit more movement speed in the river so we can run between lanes quickly. The second option is the Precision Tree, and in my opinion the best options for this tree are Triumph and Coup de Grace. Triumph is good because in team fights, whenever you get a kill or assist, you're getting a reset on your Dark Harvest and you're getting a chunk of health from Triumph. And Coup de Grace helps you finish off the low health champions so you can get those resets. Then the third option for the secondary, the Resolve Tree, you can take Demolish for the increased tower takedown speed, and Conditioning is usually good unless the enemy team comp is heavy physical or heavy magic damage, but you can make that choice at Champ Select. So now let's quickly look at the items and then move on to gameplay. We're going to be rushing the Tiamat to help increase our jungle clear speed because farming is important with this build. And because we're building a Tiamat, at level 1 we're going to start with the Rejuvenation Bead instead of Refillable Potion to save us some money. After the Tiamat, you want to rush Trinity Force for the damage, and also the attack speed works great to increase your jungle clear with that Tiamat synergy. After getting your Trinity Force, you can also pick up another Longsword, because that can be built into a few different options. If you get fed in the early game and you want some extra damage, you can go for a Lethality item, or you can get Sterix Gauge, which is another great option. Basically, if you want more burst damage, pick one of the lethality items, but if you want more damage in longer fights, pick up a Sterix Gauge for the bigger Trinity Force procs. And if you don't want any of those items, you can use that Longsword in the late game to finish your Titanic Hydra. 9 times out of 10, I pick up a Zezerot Portal. I only get Cinder Hulk if I'm losing, and I need the health quick, and I can't afford a bigger item. But usually, I just go for either Frozen Heart, Deadman's, or Spirit Visage, depending on the enemy team. And if you don't get any extra damage items, you're going to have enough inventory space to get 4 of these late game defensive items. And I didn't list all the possible choices. You can also get like a Thornmail or a Locket. A lot of different choices that have armor or magic resist. Okay guys, jumping into the gameplay now. This is a game where I built a lot of damage and just try to do as much burst damage as possible. And do my fast level 3 route, which is blue to wolves and then red. Take level 3 bear stance, jump over this wall, and then I'm just going to go for an aggressive play using this buffed auto attack from red buff. So I'm just going to leave a ward over the wall so I can see when the enemy jungler is going to show up. So I'm just going to activate Tiger Stance and then as soon as possible switch to bear stance, stun him, and he is dead. So let's grab this blue buff reset and then let's try for gank in mid lane because Ahri is more pushed than Varus. So we're going to sneak in the back, We still have a buffed auto from blue buff. She charms me, but we get that big hit, get one more Tiger Stance attack, and that's a lot of damage. And now it's bot lane's turn, so let's run down here, jump over the wall. Focusing the ADC first, I get blinded. ADC flashes away, so I'm just going to switch my focus to the Teemo. That's 20 stacks. Let's try for another gank in mid lane, but before that, let's get another harvest stack reset from the Scuttle Crab. I was dumb because my Bear Stance wasn't ready when I went in, so I should have waited for 2 seconds, but she was scared and she used flash anyways. There's another soul right there from a cannon minion, so let's just try to burst this guy down. We're a level up and we already know that I can do a lot of burst damage to him. Mid lane flashes, finishes off that Warwick. I get another harvest stack reset and burst down the Ahri. Our mid lane gets a double kill and our top lane disconnects, so right now I'm just going to run up to top lane and do a little bit of farming. So that's a bright side to that. If your top lane disconnects, you get a lot of experience. It's a big boost. And top lane reconnects. I'm going to recall, spend all this money, pick up a Tiamat, basic boots, and 2 attack speed daggers. So we're going to farm a little bit of the jungle now that we got our Tiamat. And my team's going to be okay for now because I helped them. So we start with Raptors with the AoE damage, and then to Wolves and Gromp. And we're going to spend all our mana so we can clear as fast as possible, and then we're going to grab this blue buff. Grab Scuttle for another stack and maybe invade the jungle. Can't see anything in here, so now we try bot lane. My stack is expired, but we can still do pretty good damage because I am already getting fed and I have a Tiamat. So we're going to start with the ADC Stunner, switch to Tiger Stance, attack 4 times, activate Tiamat, back to Bear Stance, stun Teemo, and burst him down. So that little double kill right there got me just as many souls as if I killed the entire jungle. So that's why I say being aggressive is important on this build. Don't get stuck in the trap of farming the entire game, because by the time late game comes, you're not going to have enough stacks to do a lot of damage. And now I'm too low to do anything else but farm. We can kill this red buff, kill Krugs. That's going to be enough money to finish Stinger and grab a Sheen. Did you guys just see that Warwick running over towards my Raptors? Because I'm pretty sure he's doing my Raptors. So I run over here. I just came from base, so I don't have a stack ready. And there he is. So I start with a stun. He kills a large raptor. I pick up the raptor soul, burst him down real quick with that soul. I'm going to slow this play down to show you all the different sources of damage. So we start with the stun. We get the bonus cheap shot damage, which is the white text right there, 34 true damage. Then I pick up the soul and switch to Tiger Stance, Dark Harvest proc, Sheen proc activates, then activate Tiamat, then Sheen's coming off cooldown again, switch to Turtle Stance, hit him with another Sheen proc, and he's dead. And then I stole his raptors as revenge. This recalls another 2,000 gold. We can finish our Trinity Force. We can pick up that one more longsword and a control ward and oracle alteration. Then let's quickly grab Rift Herald, and then this longsword can be built into either a Titanic Hydra if you want to play the safe route, or you can build a lethality item, which I'm going to do this game. And here my harvest proc expired, but I still just flash on this ADC, burst it down with a Q and Tiamat damage. And there's a cannon minion, let's grab that too. Then after that, I just did a little bit of farming and got enough money to finish the Duskblade. Right here, my 2 teammates got caught, but I was nearby. When the enemies left, I just ran over here and grabbed this 12 stacks from my team. Then I had to activate this Rift Herald, so what I decided to do was just run down towards bot lane enough so it would run down there. And then I had a feeling somebody might come to try to kill Rift Herald, so I was waiting around this corner with Oracle, but the Ahri was smart and she warded it. But my team comes over. They get a catch on Ahri. I run over here with a Dark Harvest stack ready. Squishy Callista, 1 Bear Stance auto, and that 1 Bear Stance auto does over 700 damage. And check it out, my Rift Herald's alive and healthy. He's pushing bot slowly. So let's go down towards bot lane, join this Rift Herald, and try to take down this bot inhib tower. By the way, Dark Harvest damage also works against towers. So right there, boom, 600 damage to the tower. And if you had the Demolish rune, you would also do a lot of damage from that. Warwick's trying to flank us, but I see him coming, so I step to the side out of vision. So he runs over here, looks at Nami, engages on her. It just takes me 1 Tiger Stance auto, 1 Bear Stance auto, and Tiamat, and he's dead. This squishy ADC is pushing bot lane, but here comes Udyr. Hit her with 1 Tiger proc and Tiamat. Over 1,000 damage in 1 second. And this bot lane inhib tower is already down, so let's just run in here, grab this inhib. I don't really think anybody's going to try to fight me at this point. Get another flash from Callista right there. We take out Baron. All the enemy inhibs are down. That would have been an actual one-shot if I activated the Titanic before flashing, but I didn't even use Titanic Hydra. And guys, that is just about the end of game number 1. So let's move on to the second gameplay. So this game I built a little bit more tanky, Titanic Hydra and Cinder Hulk first, but I wanted to show you this game so you can get an idea of how much damage you can still do and how you can carry by building Cinder Hulk and Titanic. Level 2 Invade, Ward the Bush, Steal the Red, Save Smite for Raptors. You can get your level 3 from Raptors, which is going to give you Bear Stance, and then use that to gank mid if the enemy is push enough, and in this case he is. And we barely made it out. So now I'm pretty low health. All I can do now is farm. So let's start with the Scuttle, then move down through the jungle one by one. Romp, Wolves, Raptors, and since my buffs expire and I'm out of mana, now is the time to recall. Let's leave a ward at red buff to make sure it doesn't get stolen. Let's go back to base, and that is going to be enough money to finish Tiamat and basic boots. You need 1,350 gold to get those, which is really important, I think, to get both of those for the first recall. And we also had enough extra money to grab a control ward. Level 5, that's a great time to solo dragon. Just going to drop my control ward so I can tell it's not warded. And even though the enemies have Scuttle, they can't see me this far away. So we take out that dragon, but since I did not have blue buff, I spent all my mana on that just trying to survive. While we're here, let's just kill this last camp in this section, the Krugs, and go back to base. Just pick up one more longsword for a little bit more burst damage, pick up a control ward. Now look at the map, what are the 3 options? Gank top, gank mid, or invade. Mid lane's not there, and also that enemy red buff is just about to spawn. So let's try this top lane gank. Leave a ward in the tri-bush so we can see if we're about to get counter ganked. And Kayn flashes to survive. But I'm going to run straight over to that red buff, pull it into the bush, and let's use this double buff to gank mid lane again. My mid lane is not here, but we're just going to be able to 1v1 this guy. Start with Bear Stance, switch to Tiger Stance, and what's the next closest thing that we can kill? Raptors. Krugs are about to spawn too. Let's run down there. And then let's move on to the enemy jungle now. Let's check to see if there's anything that we can steal. Blue buff is gone and wolves are gone, so let's just run back towards bot lane because they're kind of pushed up. So again, my ADC is not here, but it's fine. I'm just going to kill these guys. I don't have a buffed auto either, but we still have pretty good damage. Stun them both, then try to attack the ADC 4 times in Tiger Stance, and then switch to Bear Stance again, back to Tiger Stance, attack him until he's dead. So the enemy blue buff is up, but the enemy ADC is down here alone, so we're just going to run down here and take him out real quick for that 6 stacks. Start with the Bear Stance, switch to Tiger Stance, and auto attack reset with a Titanic Hydra for the burst damage. I also use a Chilling Smite, a little bit overkill. Now we get this blue buff. Gonna try to help my Akali over here. We're in a 2 versus 3, but Akali plus Udyr on this build has really great synergy because whenever we get a kill, we both get resets. So she gets ult resets and I get burst damage resets, and we just help each other get resets. So she ends up getting a triple kill. And then I run up to top lane. Let's try this guy again. Big burst damage from Dark Harvest and Titanic Hydra and Tiger Stance. Take out the tower. Grab that cannon minion. That's going to put us at 100 stacks. Let's try to get this Fiddlesticks. We got another buffed auto ready. He comes back thinking he would be able to kill me with his ADC or something, and he dies real quick. And if you notice, we have Titanic Hydra complete, but we don't even have a Trinity Force yet, and this is our damage already. So then I recalled, finished my Cinder Hulk, and started building Trinity Force. I got a Sheen, 1 attack speed dagger, and then I found these guys over here doing Rift Herald. And Shen comes over here, so we got a 2v4, but these guys are pretty squishy, and I am pretty fed, so let's try to fight these guys. I engage onto the Kayn, try to burst him down, get that soul, use a reset to burst down Fiddlesticks, get another soul, attack Yasuo, and then when Braum dies, I get another soul from that, so I ended up hitting the Yasuo with 2 different Dark Harvest procs. We saved the day. Then I was just sneaking through the enemy jungle trying to get a pick. And there's Fiddlesticks. I just switched to Turtle Stance, so that first hits in Turtle, and then Bear Stance, and then I activate Titanic Hydra, and he's dead. No Tiger Stance needed. And that kill is going to put us over 150 stacks. Just about 18 minutes. I've never really done much better than 18 minutes. So let's push down this top lane tower. And then there's a couple enemies kind of pushing away from the tower down here near mid lane. So let's run down behind these guys and just try to get a pick. Try to jump onto the Kayn. Then when Kayn escapes, I switch my focus over to Braum. He's pretty tanky, but we're just going to attack him to death. Try to stay in range between every attack. Now let's just push this lane a bit. Activate Rift Herald. And look for a good opportunity to engage. I don't have flash, so let's just wait for a good opportunity. And here comes Shen flanking behind these guys. Jumps in, gets a taunt on the ADC. He bursts him down with 1 hit. Get that Dark Harvest reset. Attack the Fiddlesticks. He barely survives. Here comes Leona. She jumps over the wall. ignites Fiddlesticks, and she gets that kill. I still have a buffed auto attack. Kane gets a little bit too close. He gets stunned. Titanic Hydra and Tiger Stance, and then we got that inhib. I really got to spend this money before getting into any more big fights, so I just flashed away from that. I don't think I could have beat those guys anyways, and I'm just trying to run away now. But then I heal up from the fruit, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to turn on these guys. Akali jumps in, so stun the Braum, get the Fiddlesticks, stun him, and he's dead. Get a Dark Harvest, reset, and then we're in a 4 versus 2, so we're just going to finish these guys off. Get a little bit extra money before taking out this dragon and going back to base. It's going to be Trinity Force complete, and then we're going to have another 2,000 gold. So I hope you get an idea of how much damage you can still do if you only build Titanic Hydra, Trinity Force, and Cinder Hulk. After leaving base, just ran over towards red buff on the way towards that bot lane, which I'm going to try to push real hard now. And my teammates all go to Baron area, and a team fight starts to break out over there. And that's exactly what you want to see when you're split pushing hard. And this is about to be the last push of this game. But before we move on to the third and final gameplay, let's look at a few different stats that show off how insane this build can be. So this is a gold over time graph. I'm the green line. Look how fast my lead increases after I get an early lead. Damage dealt to champions, I did as much damage as my ADC and mid laner combined. Meanwhile, my damage taken is also the highest. I earned more gold in that game than the 2 highest earning enemies combined. 37,000 damage to objectives, 14,000 damage to turrets. Alright guys, for this last gameplay, this game we had an intentional feeder and we ended up coming back. So since this was a pretty long game, I'm just skipping a little bit past the early game. Pretty uneventful early game. My score is 1-0-1. I did not have very many successful ganks in the early game, so I'm only at 54 stacks at 13.5 minutes. So that is not even close to the pace of the first 2 games. And my top laner is having a rough game. He had a bad start and then he started tilting. So I took Rift Herald, which my top laner was not happy about because he wanted me to help him. But after killing the Rift Herald, I ran over to finish off this Riven. And even though I'm not very fed, I'm still able to do a lot of damage to this Riven. So we get that kill, and then I just push top really hard with Rift Herald. And at this point, it's safe to say he was intentionally feeding. So it starts getting pretty difficult for my team to keep it together. So Riven teleports back up to top lane, so I'm not going to be able to get that tower for now. Steal Krugs and red, and I need one more jungle camp to have enough money to finish my Zizarot portal, which is going to be very important for helping me control the lanes if I'm trying to carry this game. Fiora respawns, instantly teleports to mid lane to feed another kill. Fiora sells all her items, builds all tiers. My teammate's just trying to survive, and I'm trying to push bot lane as hard as possible. I'm gambling because if the enemies push mid lane really hard and win, it's game over, but I gotta take a chance and try to carry this game as hard as possible. So I run down towards bot lane. When the minions get here, I just jump out of the bush and push as fast as possible because I know as soon as they see me, they're gonna run down here. So I'm just trying to take out this tower before dying. Riven shows up, try to burst her down, and I left a Zizarot in the bush right next to the tower. So while I'm attacking these guys, my Zizarot's attacking the tower, and they're focused on me. But look at that. Boom, that tower falls. Global gold for my team. That's enough for me to get Merc Treads. Fiora goes to intentionally feed again. My team wants to surrender. I say no. Then when I respawn, just go back to mid lane and try to clear out all the minions that are getting closest to our base. Get another cannon minion right there for the souls. Not very many stacks yet, but we're getting there. I do have 2 levels above their mid laner. We do a little bit of damage. Try to burst him down, but he jumps away, and it was a pretty close 1v1. But now I'm going to run over to top lane because we got 2 people pushing top lane, and they're about to get this tower. So I'm going to run in here, try to get the Riven first because she's under tower. So we grab the soul from Fiora, juke back to dodge that stun, and then stepped right back towards her, bursted down with a Dark Harvest. And then I had a feeling Zyra was going to try to throw her snare, so I juked back downward. And suddenly we're getting pretty fed. That's 130 stacks, 22 minutes. So I type in chat, we're going to win. And I say, Nami Yasuo ult combo, easy. That's basically our win condition. If we get that in a team fight, it's basically game over. Because if they just get distracted by Yasuo, I'm going to do so much damage that I'm going to burst down their carries immediately. Here comes a big push in top lane. We got a teammate teleporting down. Oh, just kidding. It's Fiora. We get a lot of damage onto the Zed. He jumps out. And then Riven's still pushing through towers, so I'm going to start with a stun, then instantly Tiger Stance, and then Turtle Stance, and we survived. And that's going to be enough money to finish the Titanic Hydra, which means our split pushing just got a lot faster, and our burst damage just got better, because now we can use that as an auto attack reset. Try to get this Zyra. It looks like she doesn't have any abilities or flash. And then I take this opportunity to try to engage on the enemies, try to flash, burst down the Caitlyn. She uses heal and flash. Lee Sin ults me away. So they use a lot of cooldowns. And here comes Riven. I guess she doesn't realize that her teammates backed out. So she comes in, gets hard CC'd. Then I take tower aggro for the team. They dive Caitlyn. I activate Zizirot, and we push down this tower. Looks like Fiora might have started trying again. But then again, later in the game, she goes back to feeding again, so it's hard to say. Zed ults me, but I'm just going to try to do as much damage to him as I can. My team finishes him off, and now they get that tower for free, and the inhib. So then I ping back, and then I didn't necessarily plan to get Cinder Hulk here. I was probably going to get an armor item first, but I noticed that I had just enough to finish Cinder Hulk, and I wouldn't have had enough to buy a complete armor item. I would have just had a Giant's Belt. So I went for the Cinder Hulk. Our 3 teammates die up in top lane, but we're going to push bot lane really hard and try to get this inhib. We already got mid lane down. Let's try to get this second inhib. And here the enemies are showing up, but I'm going to just commit myself to killing this inhibitor before I die, because I don't think it's going to be the end of the game if I die, and that's going to set us up for a comeback in the next few minutes, possibly. The enemies just go to Baron, and my teammates are all trying to stop them, and can you guess how it works out? It doesn't work. Fiora dies first, and then Draven and Nami. So now, I know they're going to push mid hard, but I see a massive wave up in top lane, and I know if I group mid lane, that top lane is going to go down. So I just run over here, grab blue, drop Zizirot, and recall. My Zizirot's going to be farming top lane for me, giving me some money, but also saving that inhib. But then, while I'm grabbing blue buff and dropping my Zizirot portal, my mid lane dies, and then my top lane dies, and we got to hold him off for 30 seconds. So I engage on Zed. I didn't plan to do any more damage than that, but that scared him into using stasis. And then I flashed on top of him when he took tower aggro, burst him down. And then I didn't really think I was going to be able to kill Lee Sin or Riven right here, so I backed away. And I was just like, well, I have to try to kill the minions again, and that's pretty much all I could do to win this game. So I'm just trying to attack the minions here, and Riven's trying to chase me away, so I slow smite her, stun her, and then Lee Sin comes in, I stun him, see the opportunity to turn around, use my Titanic Hydra, burst damage, get 2 more kills. Riven finishes me off. We held him off just long enough, and after that, all of us were able to respawn. So let's take a look at that play again in slow motion, just because there's a lot of things that I want to point out. We run in here, stun the Zed, scares him a little bit, he activates his stopwatch. I take this time to clear out all the minions very quickly. When he comes out of stasis, the towers are already targeting him because there's no minions. He dives on top of my ADC, so I flash on top of him, stun him, activate Q, and we burst him down. I might have been able to burst down that Lee Sin, but I didn't think that I could at the time, so that's why I didn't try to burst him down. Then I took a little bit of damage from Riven, got hit by Zyra, and realized that I'm not going to win this fight if I just turn around and try to fight these guys here. So I back out a little bit, switch to turtle stance, heal up just a little bit. First tower is about to go down, so I got to make a move. I got to try to clear out these minions. So if the enemies kill me, they're not going to have any minions to tank tower for them, and they're all pretty low health, so maybe that would save it. So then when Riven's engaging on me, I slow smite her, run away just to dodge her stun, and then Lee Sin jumps to her, and right here the Nami throws the bubble. I turn around to Lee Sin, activate Titanic Hydra for the auto attack reset, kills the Lee Sin and the Zyra that was taking damage from tower because all the minions were dead. Let's pick up our Frozen Heart as our last item. And look at that, our Zizirot's still going strong, and we still got our top lane inhib alive. So now that we got our full item build, let's just spend our last money on an Elixir of Iron. A little bit more tenacity. Now my Zizirot portal is ready to be used again, so before the next big fight, let's run quickly down towards bot lane and activate this, because we got a kind of big enemy bot lane wave and super minions in bot lane. So this is going to counteract that. So here, the enemy Zed is chasing our Yasuo, catch him by surprise, big burst damage, and that's the type of simple mistake that loses games. So after that, we run down mid lane, Nami gets a knock up on Caitlyn, ults all 3 of them, Yasuo ults in, and I just run in, and they're all dead immediately. We got 5 people still alive, and that's going to be the end of the game. We don't need minions to push towers. I'm tanky enough because I have so much armor, so we're just going to tank both of these towers. And guys, that's going to be the end of this guide. So I hope you guys enjoyed. That was a very long one, and if you guys stuck through that entire video, I really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to leave a like. That lets me know what kind of videos you guys want to see the most. And if you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to subscribe. Coming up next is the Jack's Dark Harvest Guide. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.